I'm streaming on
This
YouTube,
is
boys.
what they're doing.
Well,
The thing is, bro? The thing is, you're right, bro. You're right. Like, obviously, yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, innit? I fall into that category there. You know, somebody buys the place. But like, you know, year on year. But like, you're not wrong. Like, for example, with FIFA, yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, the gameplay changes a bit, yeah, year by year, innit? But it's the same concept, the same. Really, it's the same look. You know what I mean? They might add one or two little like new things. You know what I mean? To spice it up a little bit, but that's about it, really. Do you know what I mean? And like, you are right, innit? They
Have they
do
run out of
milk it.
ideas?
Do you know what I think? Do you know what I think it is? I don't think they've run out of ideas.
it's football, though, isn't it?
Do you know what I think? It's two things. It's
They're
the
not willing
money.
to take risks as well.
Oh, do you know what I think it is, mate? It's the money, mate. Like, they know that it's guaranteed money.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They just milk it, basically. They don't want to take
But
the risk.
just because what's the point of changing when something's working? You know, like if you look at it from their eyes, like for FIFA, for example, like what's the point of changing when people
All
are just
this
gonna buy
money,
our game every year and spend shitloads of money on packs and stuff? Like,
all
you know
this
what I mean?
money that should be funded into the gaming world is being siphoned for no reason off fucking RNG cards and fucking
That's the thing,
packs.
isn't it? Like, I feel like it's one of those things. Also, like it's a monopoly thing as well. Like with FIFA, yeah, but bro, no one plays PES. PES is shit now. It used to be great back in the day.
I'm not gonna lie. If you look at PES, their animations and stuff are kind of cool. Like
No,
the technology behind PES is
I like
cool.
Become a Legend.
I feel I'll become a legend. Yeah, now. Do you know I used to love his Master League on there as well? Master League was good too. But the only issue is that like it's still, you know, when like something just feels a bit outdated, even though it feels like PES because it does feel like PES, doesn't it? It just feels a bit outdated now. So like,
This is another point as well. This is why every time I don't play, I can't remember the last time I played Fortnite, but every time I see Fortnite, you know what the saying like, oh, it's like watching the proud son.
Hi everyone,
when I
it's
see
Ella
Fortnite, I
here.
always think,
I
good
just
on
wanted
you,
to
Fortnite.
say thank you guys so much
You're just
for
doing
watching
it.
Sweet Pea and
You're just willing to
for
take
all
those
of
risks.
your reactions and responses.
Fortnite have
And
now
it's
made
been so amazing
like a Valorant
to
type
hear how much you
game
guys
called like Ballistic.
like the show, and we
Why
really
not?
appreciate it. And I wanted to be the first person to tell you some very exciting news, which is that Sweet Pea will be coming back for a second
Fortnite is doing
series.
it. Like he's not even trying to be like it. Fortnite is doing it.
They're only doing it because Roblox is doing it though. Because they went in this direction anyway in the first place.
Fortnite was on.
Bro,
If it's gonna bring more fans in, we will do it.
Bro, do you know
that's
what
always
was
the
on?
angle they've been on.
Do you know what Fortnite was on at the beginning, bro? It was never meant to be what it is.
No, of course. This is why I rate them so much because, you know, it's if it brings more fans in, cool. Load it in.
But the new, as you also look at, why are they bringing back season 1, bro?
Because it's gonna bring old school fans back in.
Exactly, because I know the new shit is not bringing anyone in.
Bro, Fortnite has a high player base right now.
Yeah, because
always
of
has
season 1.
Since the release date.
Because season 1 though. No, would you not say because of season 1?
Sorry.
People like OG stuff, right?
People still play it. You can play it. You can play the ranked mode. It's just the fans. They just don't play pubs. They just play ranked. So that's the thing about Fortnite. They have both. You know, if you want to play sweaty and if you want to just play, you know, run it down. If you want to play fucking, what do you call it? What's that car game that everyone always plays? The car football game.
Oh no. Oh, Rocket League.
Play Rocket League. Play box fights. Create your own world. Play snipes. Play Lego. They even create. They not only did they release the ballistic, and the thing is, I'm not gonna play none of this shit, but I'm just happy for Fortnite because they're just doing it, G. it makes me proud, you know, as in like, bro, they're making history basically. Like they're doing something to like just raising the president essentially. You know, like if Fortnite could do it, any game can do it. G. Fortnite's more than happy to take that risk. Nigga, they have Snoop Dogg in the game.
I'll say this. I was gonna say this.
Yeah.
Can't say that though. Fortnite's like budget is fucking like insane.
Yeah.
Why is their budget insane though?
Like, no.
Why is their
I
budget
mean, like,
insane?
what I mean is that like not everyone can do it, innit? You know what I mean? But I know what
I
you're saying.
mean, I mean, you gotta take that risk. If it flops, it flops. But you gotta take that risk. People they don't want their company to flop, but I mean,
But do you ever
I'm pretty
think? Do you
sure
ever think,
Dark
like,
Souls took the risk every single time, and they came up on top. G
do you ever think like some companies, like some game companies, you know, when they're making games, they do take the risk, but it just doesn't work.
Mm.
and GG. I mean, of course they're not. Of course,
It's facts.
it's more to it. It's more to it than just GG. Like, of course they're not gonna take that risk. I mean, at least we took the risk, you know. Of course they're not gonna take that risk. But I'm just thinking in terms of the development of games, you have to take these risks because it kind of sets the precedent. G. I think when Elden Ring was released, I think bare games started to just feel like Elden Ring, or just look like Elden Ring after it started getting released. Like the new Harry Potter, after they released Elden Ring, the new Harry Potter just looked like a modded version of Elden Ring. And then everyone was playing Harry Potter, like, oh, we play Harry Potter, it's sick, you know. I'm thinking, bro, the game is basically just some reborn version of Elden Ring.
But people, that's something that happens when something's popular, bro.
But this is
When
what I
anything
mean.
becomes popular, it's same with when Fortnite came out. Same with when uh, Dark Souls came out. After that, when everyone starts to copy that one thing, just so
But they
because
took that
people
risk.
identify.
Elden Ring, they took that risk, G. They took that risk of going open world. They weren't going to create Dark Souls 4 because they knew, you know, it wasn't going to, you know, appeal to the market. So they took that risk. They did the open world,
You know what the
you
funny
know.
thing is about that game? It
Mm.
was so like because I went to Eurogamer 2014,
Mm.
and bro, I saw a panel where it's like Dark Souls. It was for Dark Souls 2. There was no one playing that, bro. No one was touching that, bro. Everyone, literally, there was no one playing that.
I should have just loaded up my thing, G. Just showed them my new game 15. Phew. You know, I got an area that's new game 15, G. Yeah, that's also so it doesn't new game the whole game. It just new games in new game in the area.
Yo, I'm at our place.
This like Demon Souls, bro. Yeah, bro. This boss drops. It drops like flipping 3 million souls. But it's a strat. It's a strat. Is it like this boss? It's the bosses are not hard to kill. It does too. But they once you do game them, they will basically one tap you. So it's stupid. So this is one boss. Uh, it's like some tall fucking king. He's got a sword. He's so tall, yeah. That you could just stay underneath him. So there's a strat where basically you just new game there. I just get new game in the air and just do it at one boss. But every time you do it, you have to new game it, so it gets fucking stronger and stronger. And I think I've done it like 15 times. I think my guy's at level 200 aside. Could I have done that in Dark Souls 3? No. Dark Souls 1? No.
What I need to do quick.
And I like that I was able to take the game at any pace because of the life gems. The life gems? Oh my goodness. Bastard. So basically, like as well, none of your runes go to waste. It kind of like has like 100% efficiency because all your excess runes you just fucking buy life gems. So if you die, it doesn't matter.
Mm.
You got the runes, G. Why? Because you've used them on buying life gems. But there's a limit. Key, why do you play DS2, man?
I'm playing DS2 right now.
For real?
Yeah, I'm on stream.
I know you're playing another game. Just play DS2, man.
No
And
way.
you're saying play multiplayer. But that's retarded. I mean, I would, but
How's that retarded?
because it would just be too easy.
Bro?
My guy's too strong, G.
It's alright. It's okay, it's okay.
Oh, is it?
The thing is, I don't want to play it, and then you die, and then we have to keep this.
I see, no way. Locked in
That's why you might as well
emoji is
just play.
crazy.
Brain Light, Berkeley, Coachella, perfect. She handed me an ice blue bomb, whatever. She's in school pain, fuck tuition doing porn in the valley. At least she working, but girl, I can't feel my face. But I'll be smoking anyway. She said, don't let the high go to waste.
Man like rap. Man like.
Now this is the song you play with. This is the type of song you play with your best. See this song here? Yo,
Hmm?
this is the song, not Drake. So, cocaine for breakfast. Yikes. I'm feeling like Stanley Kubrick. This is some visionary shit. Been trying to feel pleasure with my eyes wide shut, but it keeps on moving. I blame it on her. Triple booty with the right, like wow. I'm something at the chemist on campus.
Took all the daily quests. There's daily quests in the fucking. Like daily quests, weekly quests, and fucking. Yeah, some group assignments that you can do. On the server. You get them from the police station actually. It's interesting.
Super rich kid with nothing.
Your shit,
Man,
no way
Lucky
that guy kills me.
Charms.
He was so shit. No way that guy kills me. He was so shit. I'm
Parents
going
ain't
straight back for him,
around
bro.
enough.
He's shit.
Super rich. Too many.
Why is it every time I die, my character's not me, bro? What the fuck is this, bro?
Start my day. I'd like to tackle you. Talk about who might be well. Good time. They just don't care. I'm a real one, a million two. I'm gonna firm the bat in his back.
Easy. This comes from Smith.
Hello, I need some help. I need some help. Don't shoot. Don't shoot, I need some help. Don't shoot. Hello. Hello, I need some help. Don't shoot, don't shoot. Wow, what a fucking asshole. I said Q. What the hell? How do they expect me to deal with this? Okay, there's some light. I'm gonna wait this light out slightly.
Are truly horrific with very few
hospitals are on full alert.
Remember, this was rush hour in London. That bus was packed with people.
Horrifying reminder of the stark reality of terror.
There are people still below ground.
The scene was utter chaos and pandemonium. People screaming, crying, there's been a bomb, there's been a bomb.
Suddenly, and for the second time in a fortnight, chaos. Smoke, rucksack bombs.
Police have shot a suspected suicide bomber.
Just heard bang, bang, bang. I heard 3 bangs.
British policing changed forever today.
The family are furious with the police claiming a cover-up.
This is a huge step for me. I can't stress the enormity of it. But I think it's important I explain what I did on that day.
I'm Tony Blair. I was Prime Minister at the time. I mean, I never experienced a few days like it in politics ever, and I don't suppose many leaders have.
The Games at the 30th Olympiad in 2012 are awarded to the city of London.
We realized we were going to host the Olympics, and that was obviously a fantastic moment. People were absolutely delighted.
And Prime Minister, is there anything you have to say to the people of London at this moment?
Well done. And then I had to go straight into the G8 summit opening in Scotland at Gleneagles. It was the major gathering of the leading Western powers. On the morning of the 7th of July, I was in a bilateral meeting with the Chinese president, and around about 10 to 9 during the course of that meeting, I got handed a piece of paper saying there'd been a series of incidents on the London Underground. At that time, I didn't have any more information about it, but the moment you get past a note like that, you expect the worst.
Breaking news we're getting from the PA Newswire that there's been reports of an explosion outside Liverpool Street Station.
Speculation only at the moment of what caused that, but police stressing that it probably was a power failure or a collision between 2 trains.
In 2005, I was a firearms officer in the Metropolitan Police. I had a great deal of experience. I'd worked hundreds of firearms operations. On the morning of 7/7, so I was at home. I was married. I had a daughter who was running around. She was about 2 years old at this stage. And then suddenly our phones came alive with what had happened.
London's worst attack since the Second World War, a shocking toll of dead and injured, and the entire capital city's transport system paralysed as at no time in history. The bombers struck with ruthless effect, and there appears to have been no signal of their intent.
multiple bombs across the capital, a coordinated, calculated terrorist outrage.
Ladies and gents, please listen to me very carefully. I need you to move this way, please, as quick as you can.
The casualties were ferried to nearby hospitals. People brought in with shards of glass embedded in their...
Oh my god. Someone's in the house. Someone's in the fucking police station with me. They got guns too. I nearly fucked that guy up. This guy's not ready for me, man.
Skin, burns and smoke inhalation.
People started to scream because there was a burning smell. We were all trapped like sardines, waiting to die, and I honestly thought my time was up.
It was just black, and we just got out, so we have no idea.
What did you hear after the
We were
explosion?
just screaming. I thought it was on fire.
I don't know, but there's some seriously injured people there. It's not good.
I was in the front carriage, and people were severely injured there.
The smell, the smoke, you completely couldn't see anything. It was just horrible. I just want to get home.
Guys, can you keep moving down, please?
The number of dead and injured still growing, but the scale of the disaster clearly enormous.
The feeling was that we failed. We'd let everyone down by not being there nor to try and save life. It was a terrible feeling. We immediately all called in. We were all there ready to go. And we were just waiting for any intel or any taskings for us to get involved with. Obviously, as the media releases more information and you realise how many people have been brutally slain, it was a terrible, terrible thing. It really did shake everyone to the core.
My name is Richard Walton. I was a detective superintendent in Special Branch. I describe the response post 7/7, the 2-3 weeks after that, as the most intense period in my career, 30-year career, without any hesitation. On the day of 7/7, I was in Cobra in the Cabinet Office, briefing into government at the highest levels what was going on. The intelligence agencies galvanized very, very quickly.
Further suspicion does tend to point towards groups linked to Al-Qaeda.
Police say they received no warning before the attack. Security experts say it has all the hallmarks of the Al-Qaeda network.
Britain's security services have long said it's not a matter of if, but when.
It was very clear that this arose out of Islamist extremism. Post 9/11, London was obviously going to be a target. There was ongoing military action in Afghanistan and Iraq, and you had terrorist groups operating in different parts of the world and linking up with each other. you're dealing with people who have no regard for their own lives, never mind the lives of other people, so we couldn't let down our guard at all.
First in Russia after terrorism definitely wasn't as packed as normal.
I found myself looking around all the time like this, thinking, you know, is it a package, is it a parcel, or is this going to happen?
During the immediate days after 7/7, we were absolutely concerned about further attacks. We had many extremists born in Britain, educated in Britain, travelling out to Pakistan and Afghanistan to be trained by Al-Qaeda. And then they returned to the UK as British nationals, British citizens, and then carry out attacks from within, if you like, from within the country.
Enter, run back. 24 hours after London was attacked, Liverpool Street Station was shut for an hour this morning, while passengers wondered whether it might all be happening again.
In the days that followed, we were dealing almost on a daily basis with phone calls being made saying there's going to be another attack.
It's extremely difficult to prevent terrorist attacks, particularly to large cities. We knew the threat was escalating.
What happened 2 weeks later, I have to live with for the rest of my life. Everything told me that I was going to die.
My name's Angus Campbell. In 2005, I was a member of the London Fire Brigade. My youngest son was just 6 weeks old.
Do you think people remember what happened on that day?
No. No.
Just wait there for a second. Put your bag on the floor, please.
Security has been stepped up since the attacks 2 weeks ago. Sniffer dogs trained to detect explosives have been used at major underground stations.
I was going to work that day, and I got on the tube at Tootingbeck, and I started the mundane journey on the Northern Line to go to work. The journey was very, very normal. We pulled into Stockwell Station, and again, nothing much happened. The door shuts, train pulls away, and we enter the tunnel. And the moment we enter the tunnel, there's an explosion. There's an enormous bang, and it's really, really loud, and I jump. I don't jump very much, and I jumped. And the carriage in its entirety filled with smoke. I can hear screaming and shouting. And then the smoke starts to dissipate, and we can see a man, and he's shouting and screaming, and he's flapping at the back of his neck. So I pull the alarm. The other people in our end of the carriage have gone through the adjoining doors to the other carriage, and they beckon to me to come through, and I choose not to. As a firefighter, you walk into a building or walk into a situation that everybody else is running away from. Then there's an interaction, and the interaction is really, really aggressive. But I want to help him, and I'm quite determined to help him because I think he's burned. And so I walk down the carriage towards him. Now I can see what's on the floor. And what's on the floor is the remains of his rucksack. There's actually a flame flickering around the rucksack, and it's smouldering, and there's still quite a lot of smoke emitting from it. And inside the rucksack, I could also see very distinctly nails, bolts, and other paraphernalia. This is a bomb, and he's trying to carry out mass murder. And it dawns on me just what's happening. I'm on a moving vehicle. I'm 200 feet underground.
Yo.
I'm in front of an individual who's just tried to commit mass murder. He's now threatening to kill me, and I'm all on my own. You can see how close I am to him. It's very intense, isn't it? And then, of course, what happens is we pull into the Oval Tube Station, and the train comes to a halt. And then the driver comes on the tannoy, and his voice is really, really bored, and he says, whoever sounded the alarm, will they please make themselves known to the driver? So I ran back, I said, yes, we've got him, don't open the doors, call the police, we can hold him here. And then the doors open, and he runs, and he was gone, and he was gone. I went up and back up to street level, fresh air, which is nice. And I was shaking, and I was obviously frightened. I phoned my wife and I said, I think something's happened. She said, what do you mean something happened? Well, I'm not really sure, but I think someone's tried to blow up my train. And she said, oh, that's a bit odd, are you okay? And I said, yes, I'm fine. And she actually says, actually, it's not just you. They've done it all over London again. They're trying to replicate what they've done 2 weeks to the day earlier and terrorise London all over again.
Some breaking news just in. In the past few minutes, we've had reports that several London Underground stations have been evacuated and that smoke has been seen coming from a train.
London under attack again, 2 weeks to the day. The target's the same. 3 tube trains, 1 bus.
Can you please move? Tens of thousands evacuated. Explosions, smoke, rucksack bombs.
And the capital streets are again reduced to this. Panic, confusion, fear.
Suddenly people were starting screaming and shouting and running.
They just said, that you need to evacuate, you need to get out.
This time the explosions were much smaller, and there are reports of just 1 casualty. It appears tonight that the bombs failed to detonate properly.
It's believed that the detonators went off, but the explosives themselves didn't explode.
On the 21st, we were engaged on an operation. We were in an abandoned building, and when we heard that there'd been another attempted terrorist attack, and that this one was different, that the devices hadn't gone off, and so therefore there were 4 suspects, 4 suicide bombers on the run.
In the hours since the bombs were detonated, police have become convinced this was a serious attempt on London. As they search for evidence, a massive manhunt's underway.
Knowing that there were 4 people on the run who attempted to commit further atrocities was a pretty horrific thought. And in fairness, this was a tactic that we hadn't prepared for. Out of all that planning about how to deal with suicide terrorism, we hadn't actually catered for the fact that we're going to have 4 people on the run. Because technically they shouldn't be there, should they? They should have committed suicide, committed the atrocity, and we're just there to pick up the pieces. So it was a tactic really that we hadn't trained for.
While today's bombings were nothing like the horrors of 2 weeks ago, there are striking similarities. Detectives will be gathering all the evidence they can in the hope of catching whoever was responsible.
My name is Douglas McKenna. My role in 2005 was a detective superintendent at the anti-terrorist branch based at New Scotland Yard in London. I took responsibility as the sort of senior investigating officer for the events of the 21st of July. To all intents and purposes, it bore very similar hallmarks to the events of the morning of the 7th of July. Men, backpacks, explosions, 3 underground trains, 1 bus. You have 4 suspects who you believe have just tried to commit acts of terror in London on the loose. Nobody knows what the playbook is of a failed suicide bomber. So there's a great deal of concern of what are they going to do next. There was a massive operation taking place between the police and the security services.
Have you got hundreds of potential leads at that point, or have you actually got a small...
Get none. There was no advanced intelligence, and there was no real understanding of who these individuals were, what group they were connected with, what group they were being coordinated by, if any, and therefore these are all unknowns. As soon as the actual
shit. We say Makoba.
had been made safe by the
Bruh.
officers.
We say Makoba.
Forensic crime scene examiners will have been careful
Makoba.
the materials left behind.
Easy.
During the course of the night, early hours of the morning,
What's your name?
Officers had managed to recover a gym membership card from the bag at Shepherd's Bush.
This guy dressed like he's trying to catch them all, bro.
Hussein Osman, and identified an address of 21 Scotia Road. A major operation had already been taking place overnight to make surveillance on the premises. That is the starting point for the manhunt.
Police are continuing to hunt for 4 bombers who attempted to carry out terror attacks on 3 tube trains and a bus in London yesterday. This image has just been released of the rucksack left by one of the bombers on the top deck of the number 26 bus in Hackney.
I cycled into work, got in there really early, and we were told that one of the suspects had been identified and his address had been identified. Because of the nature of the threat, we were told to change the ammunition over from our handguns from our normal rounds to 124 grain dum-dum bullets, which were specifically authorized for suicide killer operations to potentially deliver a critical shot.
Oh shit.
21 Scotia Road is a multi-occupancy, relatively small block of flats, but with one communal entry. And so there was surveillance operation around the premises, and the surveillance officers had the image from the gym membership cards.
A gym membership card.
Man, this fight is
on
crazy.
top of a rucksack, which had partially detonated.
Huh?
And we were shown a back copy of it. It was black and white, very, very grainy. And we were shown this as we were briefing. We had
Look how much
to
impact.
take that grainy image to memory. We had to pass it around. There's only one image of it to try and... No, absolutely not. There was only one image available. I've no idea. In any fast-time, fast-moving operation, especially with the level of threat that was faced, you don't have time to question those orders. We had to find this suspect.
How are you feeling about earrings?
Yeah.
What kind of... I've got those.
Oh,
I'm Dayz Chiemsee, and I'm an actor. Great.
Jeez.
Brilliant. Go with that. My acting career so far has comprised shows like Bridgerton, EastEnders, lots of TV commercials, which are always fun. In 2005, I was living in South London. You know, I'm kind of pretty much born and bred South London girl. And I was working in central London. There was definitely nervous tension. London didn't seem as happy-go-lucky. You know, people were suspicious of anyone who looked like they could be a terrorist. A male, South Asian, beard, you know. But for me personally, even when something like that happened, you think, well, I'm not going to let that stop my daily life.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean by GPS.
On the 22nd, I just wanted to
Sorry, you don't have that back.
put my headphones on, grab my bag, get out the door, get the bus, get the tube, go to work. What's the worst that could happen?
Okay.
It was a normal day. We kitted the cars up. We were given an area where we had to go to. We were going to be concentrating on a suspect called Saint Osman of Scotia Road, which was in Tulse Hill. There was a central information room based at Scotland Yard, which would have live intelligence feeds.
The control room there will have been responsible for managing the assets that are on the ground, the surveillance team and the firearms team around 21 Scotia Road. My understanding and memory of the events, an individual exited the block of flats at Scotia Road, walked to the bus stop, got on a bus. Okay. Somebody in the surveillance team is already in close proximity to the individual who's on the bus.
That's cool, so.
The firearms team are waiting to get forward if an intervention is required.
I was the car commander. I was sitting in the front passenger seat and I was in charge of the radios. They're antiquated, and so the range of the signal varies greatly. And I remember hearing some broken communications that were inaudible. So I phoned the second in command, who's my friend, and I said to him, "What's happening?" And he said, "It looks as though we potentially got a suspect on a number 2 bus heading towards Brixton."
The number 2 bus was packed. I remember thinking, gosh, don't like this. It gives me a bit of anxiety. But I remember thinking it's only a few stops, so I can deal with it.
I actually knew where the number 2 bus went. So we ended up driving at quite some speed. I wanted to get into contention with the rest of the team and any potential suspect movements. I do know that there were surveillance officers on the bus with him. And one of the surveillance units identified that this was possibly Hussein Osman, our target. Apparently he was on his phone, he was agitated, looking around the whole time. We could be looking at a detonation on a bus. The same on the bombings of 7/7.
Normally on a bus that busy, there'd be conversations going on, people on their phone, people laughing, you know. But it was a lot more subdued, given what happened 7/7. Everyone kind of nervously looking and eyeing up who you were standing next to and who was opposite you and who might be on the bus.
I know that he'd got off the bus, he'd gone towards Brixton Tube Station, had suddenly turned around and then got back on the same bus again, and this was interpreted as an anti-surveillance movement.
This bus is cringe.
That's crazy.
Around the
Yeah. No. I didn't get to the single player stuff.
A detonation on a bus.
It's all designed to be
on the bombings of 7/7.
My name is Sam. At the
Everyone kind of nervously looking and eyeing up who you were standing next to and who was opposite you and who might be on the bus.
I know that he'd got off the bus, he'd gone towards Brixton Tube Station, had suddenly turned around and then got back on the same bus again, and this was interpreted as an anti-surveillance movement. The bus was now heading towards Stockwell. So we drove along, and I could actually see the bus up ahead. And I pointed out to our crew, I said, that's the bus, that's the bus.
So the bus turns into Stockwell. So we get off the bus, and then it's just a short walk down the street to Stockwell Tube Station.
I heard that the suspect was off a bus.
And this bus was sick as well.
We're looking for an Asian-looking male wearing all denims.
My name is Sam. At the time, I was living 5 minutes walk from Stockwell Tube Station, which was a huge bonus to me and one of the main reasons for living there. Every day I'd go to Stockwell Station and travel a few stops, then get off at the South Bank for my job. I was more conscious of the fact that an Asian with a backpack on public transport would be getting more attention. I thought for a brief time that I might go looking for a transparent backpack just to show what an innocent character I was. The one that I found is about this big and was peppered with bright pink hearts and was clearly designed for a 7-year-old girl. At that point, I thought, I'm going to stop worrying about this. It was just an ordinary working day, nothing special about it. I stepped into the station, as I had done hundreds of times before.
We arrived outside Stockwell Tube Station.
Yeah, I got to Stockwell Tube, went through the ticket barriers.
I remember hearing the surveillance officer saying, suspect was now into Stockwell Tube Station. What do you want us to do? And we didn't hear anything. We just heard stand by, stand by. And we just waited. You cannot act singly in these type of scenarios. You don't know what damage you're going to do. You have to wait for that command decision, even though the anxiety was building up.
I went through the ticket barrier as normal, went down the escalator, got on the train, and then I sat down and I waited. And I waited. The train sat there. It didn't leave the platform. I'm daydreaming, I'm staring into space, and I notice a fairly well-built white man, middle-aged, standing up and looking quite nervous. And he keeps darting sidelong glances out of the door and the entrance of the platform, which leads to the escalators. It looks as if he's waiting for his friends to join him, but this makes no sense. You would wait on the platform because the doors could slide shut. You could be out of the station at any moment. No one waits for their friends on the train. In retrospect, he simply must have been a plainclothes policeman who was waiting for the uniformed armed policeman to join him.
Roughly, we were waiting about a minute and 10 seconds at the most, and then our radio suddenly came to life. He must not get on the tube, stop him from getting on the tube. And then my team sergeant said, state red, which was our terminology for deployment. So I left my vehicle, ran straight across the road through the traffic, and I thought I was on my own. Absolutely. I didn't know, I hadn't seen any of the other team. And then I had eye contact with C2, and he's my close friend, my brother in arms, and just seeing him, having that eye contact where we both knew that we were there together was a good feeling. It was a good feeling. We knew that the suspect had gone through the barriers and actually gone through onto the tube station, so we knew we were playing catch up. I vaulted the turnstile. I had nothing on me to identify that I was a police officer. I remember seeing a transport worker look up a bit shocked, and before he could say anything, I managed to just chop him out of the way with my hand and then jumped down, and I sprinted towards the escalators, and I just ran down. I know my weapon was out at this stage, but I tucked it down by my right buttock and out of view. I remember thinking, who am I looking for? Trying to recall that person for that photograph that I had about a 10-second glimpse of. I looked along the line of the tube carriageway, and the line was broken by a foot. And I sort of zeroed in on that foot. It was sticking out the door. And I recognised the technique, and I just immediately looked at him, and I stepped on board the tube. And I just assumed it was a surveillance officer. I'd never seen this person before, and it was. And as soon as I took one step onto that tube, he spun round, and he's indicated a person sitting on the opposite corner, and he went, "That's him." So things happen really, really, really quickly at this stage. As soon as that surveillance was said, identified and pointed at this male, that person stood up. But it was the way they stood up that triggered something in my head that wasn't right. He had his hands, they were almost hovering above his knees. And as he stood up, he didn't use anything to push himself off a chair or anything like that. He just got up like this and immediately turned to his right, which is where we were, and came towards us. At the same time, I brought my weapon up and pointed at his head, and I shouted, "Armed police." At that stage in my head, this person knew who we were. This person, by the way they got up, was coming forward in order to detonate a bomb and kill us. He still continued on his forward momentum as I had my weapon up, pointing at his head. I remember the surveillance officer then in full body contact with him. And apparently what he was trying to do was pin his hands so that he couldn't detonate. I'm aware of C2, who's on my left-hand side. I can just see him in my peripheral vision. And I just know I'm expecting an explosion at any moment. He's going to blow. We're going to die. That is it. That's the nub of it. If I don't do something now, we are all going to die. The public, everyone's going to die. We're going to die. I knew I had to take that shot. I just knew I had to. And I couldn't because the surveillance officer's head's in the way. So I've had to push his head out the way in order to get on target. So I did that with my gun, quickly brought it up. And then once his head was clear, I engaged with a few shots. Time seemed to slow down there. I remember seeing the shots going in, but then having to close my eyes because of the force of the explosion. Without being too indelicate, there was debris coming back. And I remember sort of partially flinching with stuff that was coming back. At the same time, C2 was pushing down on the surveillance officer's head at this time so that he could take the shots on the acquired area. It was a simultaneous action by both myself and C2. I remember once we finished firing, there was like a deafening silence and a real stillness. And I remember thinking, I need to make sure you're dead. And so I partially took a half step back and I fired another shot. I didn't see any movement. And I just thought, we stop this bomb from going off.
I remember a man running past, saying, "Out the way, out the way, get out the way, get out the way." And I saw they had guns.
And then suddenly we hear shouting and running, and in a flash you can see a crowd of very well-built men. You see a flash of black and white. And I remember thinking instantly, it's the police, there's some kind of incident, it's time to get off this train.
There was a woman standing next to me and we just kind of did that, well, what should we do? And she's looking at, well, what should we do? And we just ran.
I remember hearing shots, and I think at least one woman crying out in fear.
And then you think, if it's armed police, are they chasing after a suicide bomber? And if there is a suicide bomber in the same space as me, I could be dead in a minute.
We were off the train in seconds. We were all running down the length of the platform. The only way out is an exit right at the end of the platform. So for about 50 yards or so, you're just running down, very much aware that if anybody shot down the length of the platform, it would be fish in a barrel. There'd be nowhere to go. So for a few seconds, we were all aware there is nowhere to hide.
And everything flashes past. I just thought about my daughter. I just wanted to get home to her.